Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to Purple Cat Network. Today's video is something a little bit different, so I wanted to talk about a new craft project that I did this month. So I subscribed to a monthly craft subscription on mycraftmaster.com. This is an Australian website, but they do ship internationally as well. This website has a monthly subscription where you pay $50 a month and you get sent a random mystery craft box. So I got sent my craft box in the first week of the month, but I didn't really get around to opening it up until a couple of weeks later because I was a little bit anxious about opening it. I was really excited when I received the email that my craft box had been posted because I wanted to have that excitement of opening it and not knowing what was going to be in it. Unfortunately, though, after the box was shipped, I received an email that stated what the craft project was that was in it. It had an instruction PDF and also a link to an instructional video. So I was a bit disappointed that I didn't get to open the box and be surprised as to what was in there because it was spoiled to me by the email. So I think next month I won't open it, the email that is. And that's the reason why I was apprehensive about opening my box, because I saw the email and I knew what the project was, and it was not something that I was super excited about. So it was a Summer Splash Crochet Sun hat. Now, I'm not much of a crocheter. I've done a couple of blankets in the past, but nothing ever like a hat. And I really doubted my ability to be able to do this craft project. And I like hats, but I wouldn't say I wear them all of the time. And so I wasn't really super pumped to do this, so I put it off for a couple of weeks. Now in the box there is a ball of yarn. I don't really know what that kind of fabric is that you use to crochet with. Then there is also a crochet hook and a needle and a bunch of like safety pin type things and a black ribbon. I thought that the quality of materials was quite good, although this did cost $50, so it's definitely not $50 worth of materials. The hardest part for this project was actually starting. It had been a long time since I'd done any crochet and I could not remember how to start it. So this ring that I'm working on here, I think I tried to start it maybe 5 or 6 times before I actually got it to the point where it looked decent enough to keep going. And that took me about 45 minutes to do that. So at this point, I was feeling quite deflated and really had no idea how long it was going to take me to do this project because it had taken me such a long time to get started and to get to where it was going. As I progressed, though, it did get a lot easier. And I must say that I kind of got into the swing of it a bit more. And as I was getting the circle bigger, it became easier. I was still quite slow though. I would admit I'm quite slow at crocheting. So anyone interested, there is actually a YouTube tutorial. So this link to this video is provided in the email that you get with the instructions. And this video shows you pretty much how to do the crocheting, and I found this video incredibly useful. As a visual learner, it was so helpful to watch the video and get, tips on how to do it from the video. Whereas the PDF that comes with it, I would say it has all the instructions that you need, but it's not as comprehensive or as easy to understand as the video. And I think if you just followed the PDF instructions, you might make some errors because the video has some tips in it like, you only have to do a certain number of rounds if you want it to be that size. I found the video to be a lot more helpful than the PDF, but I did use both. So here I'm getting to the end of the top of the hat. Now it does say in the instructions that roughly for an adult the diameter needs to be about 16.5 centimeters. Mine was a little bit bigger than that because I think my tension is a little bit loose, but I think that was actually a good size for me. It maybe could have been a bit smaller on the top of the hat, but overall it fit quite okay. If anything, it was actually a little bit snug and I think I have quite a small head, so it's definitely good to just try it on your head first before you continue with the next step. So at this point, I've just finished doing the height of the hat. I just followed the PDF instructions on how many rows to do for the height of the hat. I think it might be a little bit too high for my head, but it's not too bad. It still looks fine. And here I'm just starting the brim of the hat, which requires double crochets. Everything else up to this point had been single crochets. And I actually felt more comfortable doing the double crochets because it was something I had done previously doing blankets, even though it doesn't look like I'm very good at that. I use my fingers a lot to help me pull the yarn over the crochet hook because I just don't have that quick technique yet. But the brim of the hat is basically alternating between double crochets and single crochets all the way around, and it gets bigger and bigger as you go. Okay, so here I'm getting ready to end my hat brim. I did, I think, 5 rounds on the brim, and then I measured it on my head, or put it on my head rather, and it looked pretty good. And I also at this point felt like I wasn't going to have enough yarn to actually do too many more rounds. The PDF instructions said that you needed to do 8 rounds, but the video said that you didn't need to do that many. If it looked good after however many rounds you did, or whatever you wanted for your hat, then you could stop. So I decided to stop after 5 rounds. And to finish it off, it's actually quite simple. You're just pulling the loops through and then tying it off and sewing the loose or excess thread into the underside of the hat. Overall, this project took me, I think, maybe 14 hours to do. I actually thought that it was going to take me a lot longer because I am not an expert crocheter, and it did take me so long to create that first round that I thought I would be working on this hat for weeks, but I really only needed, a few solid sessions. Like, you could do this over the weekend and then it's done. So it doesn't actually take that long once you get into the swing of crocheting. If you have never crocheted before, I think it would probably take a little bit longer than that, and hopefully you don't get as frustrated as I did with starting, but it is possible that you may find it a little bit tricky to start with and that it may take a bit longer if you've never done any crocheting. I had only crocheted a few simple blankets before and knew how to do double crochet prior to doing this, and I did pick it up fairly quickly. So I do think it is possible to do if you have never crocheted before, but might be a little bit tricky to kind of get into at the start. So here is my finished hat. I do think that overall it's probably a little bit too tall, so maybe next time if I made another one, I would probably not do as many rounds in the height of the hat. It does fit quite snugly on my head, and the final step was putting a ribbon around the base of it just to give it a nice little finishing touch. When I first tied the ribbon, I did it quite tight, and then when I went to put it back on my head, it no longer fit my head. So you do have to tie the ribbon actually quite loosely if the hat is already fitting quite snug, otherwise your hat won't fit. But if your hat is a little bit loose at the end, this ribbon will actually help to tighten it up for you. So that's probably something you don't need to be too worried about. I struggled a bit with tying the bow. I've never really tied bows, so it took me a little while to figure out how to get it tied nicely. It looks okay, but it's not perfect, so I think I might need to practice bow tying a little bit more. And the finishing results, as you can see, the hat is a little bit tall, but overall fits quite well and is a good shape and size. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. And if you want to see more of these craft subscription boxes, let me know. Thanks for watching.